Hi, everybody, and welcome to the ACMike Show. I'm your host, ACMike Lopez, and this show will be everything Atlantic City, from entertainment to sports to food to politics, anything and everything that makes our city great. Before we get into today's show, I'd like to take a moment to tell you how the ACMike Show and ACMike Lopez is here today, making an everyday impact on Atlantic City. So, folks, what we do at the ACMike Show is just promote the city. We see everything from great sunrises that have been rising over Atlantic City for 166 years, to rides on the boardwalk, to our great shows at our casinos, to our free shows at Kennedy Plaza. All I do is simply share it, a video story for each and every one of us to see and enjoy. And it's nothing about me or our Grand Casinos. It's all about Atlantic City. So we've created followers. That sort of thing happened. And then here we are. We have a radio show on News Talk 1400 WOND, which I do Sundays, 11 a.m. To noon. And it's a great time to also share on an audio level what we do. And then here with a great collaboration with Stockton University. I'm so grateful for that. So let's talk about today's show. We have a personal friend of mine, winner of America's Got Talent, Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. After that, we will be bringing you to Alan Valentine at Hard Rock, Atlantic City, right on the stage. He is the producer, creator, the everything with Motor City Live. Thank you, Dave Pena, for bringing the goods to the table. We'll be right back with Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. Stay tuned, folks. Hey, folks, welcome back to the ACMike Show. We have a special guest for you, close personal friend of mine, America's Got Talent winner, national recording artist, superstar in my eyes and yours, my pal, Landau Murphy Jr. Man, I like saying that name. Welcome to the ACMike Show, Landau.
Hey, what's going on, ACMike? Thanks for the invite, buddy.
Hey, you're welcome. Listen, man, we're just going to jump right into this. We got to know each other a few years back, and maybe 5 or 6 years ago, running around Atlantic City, you and Dave Damiani, Haley Reinhart, and a bunch of others, Renee Alstead. America's Got Talent. Do me a favor. Take us a little bit before that, what you're doing, and then we'll get into that a little bit.
Oh, before America's Got Talent, I had a blues soul band called Top Shelf. I named it Top Shelf because I wanted to be the best blues soul band out there. And my little brother had got locked up for street pharmaceuticals, and he went to jail with this guy. And while I was, in my neighborhood, I was doing the positive side. I was singing for veterans and, abused children and things like that. And it was just, while they were locked up, they was collecting a newspaper. And he asked my brother, who was this guy on the front of the newspaper from Logan County, always singing Frank Sinatra songs, and he told him that I was his brother. And when they got out, I went to his house and sung a couple songs for him. He built a band around me, and I called it Top Shelf. The band lasted for maybe like 2 years. I went back to washing cars, just singing in the wash bay, shining up BF Goodrich tires.
So you told me a little story, and we'll touch on it real quickly. You had a babysitter that wasn't, I guess it was a traditional type babysitter. You used to sit on front of the TV, and tell us a little bit about those, because some of those characters are ones that brought me up also, and how you got to love that type of music.
Hey, you can blame it all on Merry Melodies, Bugs Bunny, and Looney Tunes. I mean, I just remember sitting in front of the television and, watching those favorite cartoons of mine and singing Frank come out as the rooster. And he would sing to all the little chickens in the yard. And he would come out and go, bo, 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 bo. And all the chickens would go, Frankie!
That's great.
I grew up on that. I started using that on the playgrounds in the inner city where I grew up. I was born in West Virginia, but my parents split up in '84. So I was moved from West Virginia to Detroit, Michigan. So it was a whole new lifestyle that I had to adapt to. And the only thing kept me away from gangs, violence, drugs, and the streets was church, basketball, and singing.
That's pretty
Singing
good.
music. So on the basketball courts, I would use those same things that I learned from those cartoons when I dunked on somebody. Instead of trash talking and getting bullied or beat up by a gang of people that hated the fact that I could dunk on them, I would sing "Fly Me to the Moon." So it was like, boom, fly me to the moon. You know, and everybody just loved it. They thought it was Def Comedy Jam, but I think it was God's way of just grooming me, getting me ready to the point of my life where I went on America's Got Talent. You know, and I never thought I would get to that point, but actually God was grooming me for that moment. And once I hit rock bottom, I got robbed, and somebody went in my house and stole all the copper out of my walls, all the clothes, while I was doing like a charity event or something. And came home and water was running out in front of my house. They just snatched the wash machine, the refrigerator, everything, the dryer out, and it was just horrible. So I was really upset, and I could have went one way or the other.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just chose the right path, you know, and the God was speaking to me at that moment, telling me, all you need is a bigger stage. All those things were taken away from you so you can actually go get what I have set aside for you. And then right at that moment, I seen that commercial with Howie Mandel. Are you the next winner of America's Got Talent? Do you have what it takes to headline your own show in Vegas? Are you our next $1 million prize winner? And I was like, yes, I am.
How about that?
And rest is history.
And you nerved up, and you didn't have a problem with nerves, but just saying, you know what, I can do that. And from what we see and the way we've talked about it with each other, it's that positive flow that I like to give. Listen, I'm not naive. I know bad things happen, whether it's in our city, Atlantic City, or our world. But you know what? That's for someone else or another show. What we want to tell how people, you took a bad situation and you brought it to a restorative narrative. So now you put the application or whatever it is that you have to be, you're on stage standing on front of this. We only have a few minutes left, but tell us what that was like, Landau.
Oh, it was amazing because, you know, I've never thought that I would be, you know, in front of a major audience like that, unless it was playing basketball in the NBA. You know, I wanted to be like Mike. So
not this Mike.
For our singing and dancing, I loved Michael Jackson, but basketball was Michael Jordan, boxing was Mike Tyson. So all the Mikes, including ACMike, you know, so it was just a dream come true. I'm sitting on stage. I'm really nervous because, you know, I've never seen myself as like the most handsome guy. I was always picked on and bullied, you know, and made fun of. So, but being at rock bottom, you know, it taught me to go get it. It was like, get up or suffer in it. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to sit and be sad about what you lost? Or are you going to look at the bright side of it and realize that now you have nothing to lose and everything to gain? All I need is 15 seconds on television. And either somebody from the cruise ship was going to call me and I would be the love boat. I would have been that guy. or I would have been in Capitol Records recording the album in somebody's studio or something. You know, I just knew there was going to be something there from it. And I just looked at the positive. Instead of focusing on the negative, right. I turned it into a positive. I took all that negative energy and turned it into something great, you know, and it changed my whole life.
So Landau, we're at the end of the show. What I want you to do here is quickly tell folks where they can find your music and find you, whether it's on social media, please.
I'm at LandauEugeneMurphyJr.com. That's my website. I'm at Landau Eugene Jr. on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter. I can't believe I won the biggest show on television. I only got like 3,900 followers on Twitter. But follow me on that. I'm on Instagram at Landau E. Murphy Jr., all one word. And, you know, you can also find me on Facebook, Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. I have a fan page and also a personal page. And I'm touring all over the world. Go to my website. You can see all the stuff and places that I've been. And I'm just here to inspire and bring back this great music. Getting ready to do some originals, put my name in the Great American Songbook. I will see you all soon.
And that's right, folks. You're going to be able to see Landau Murphy Jr. here in Atlantic City, and I'll make sure you know about it. He's world-renowned. We love you, bro. You know I do. When we get together, you, Dave, and we go to Doc's Oyster House and you're just singing by the piano bar, there's nothing like it. Folks, make sure you follow Landau Murphy Jr., friend of mine, friend of Atlantic City. Brother, love you. See you soon.
Yes, sir. I love you, Mike.
Hey folks, what's happening? AC Mike here, Atlantic City Boardwalk. First of its kind, longest of its kind. And I didn't make that up. You can fact check that. We're with Dave Pena, Tropicana Boogie Nights, Planet Rose, hanging out a little bit.
Ready to rock the boardwalk.
Tell us, we got some guy named Alan going to be on our show?
Alan Valentine is our next segment, and he's a fantastic and very cool guy that produces shows in Atlantic City and really brings energy to the city. And he's done it for many, many years, and everybody knows his productions. We're going to take a look at what he does.
So listen, Alan, I was just playing. Listen, I know exactly what you do from the 80s to the Rat Pack and everything else you've been doing for the last 20 or 30 years. We love you. Dave, thanks for bringing him on. Folks, make sure you stay tuned. Here we go. The AC Mike Show, Alan Valentine, David Pena.
All right, we're here at the Hard Rock Casino in Atlantic City, and I'm sitting with Alan Valentine, the producer of the Motor City Live show. Alan, it's such a great pleasure to see you because you and I have known each other for a long time. Let's talk about this. So you grew up in Long Island. When did it first hit you that you wanted to be in show business?
Boy, really young.
And what part of Long Island, by the way?
Massapequa, South Shore.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I was, I had a tooth pulled. I was on my way home from the dentist, and I was 5, 6 years old, and my mom ran into a toy store. She said, I'm going to get you a surprise. I'll come out with something. She had a magic set. And I just fell in love with magic at that point. And started working the club scene when I was really young. I was 16, 17, doing all the clubs in Manhattan, the Limelight, the Tunnel, Palladium.
Oh my gosh,
Remember
really?
all those clubs, yeah. And I did this really avant-garde magic act, and then a talent scout for the Taj Mahal saw me and said, hey, do you want to come down to Atlantic City? And I'm like, sure. And I thought it was going to be a 6-month contract, and 30 years later, here I am.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's how it started.
I mean, did you fall in love with Atlantic City immediately?
Oh God, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Me too.
I really did. And
what attracted you to Atlantic
the
City?
beach, for one. I mean, just you know, and I know you and I live on the beach, and so having a place on the beach. Once you live on the beach, it's hard to go anywhere else.
Well, that's great. So tell us the process. So you were a magician.
Yep.
And then what happened next?
So usually in Atlantic City back then, my show would run 2 shows a night, 6 days a week. And for 6 months, and then I'd have 6 months on, 6 months off. And during the downtime, I needed to do something, so I started producing production shows.
Yeah.
It started at the old Hilton. I had a small show there in Gatsby's Lounge.
I remember
that? It was my first production show I produced. Then I did an Elvis show for the great Dennis Gomes. Remember Dennis Gomes?
I remember very well.
And Dennis...
he brought me into this town.
Yeah, he actually booked one of my first big shows at Tropicana. It was called the King Concert. And then the Trump Plaza shows were huge productions as far as just a really big illusion show. And in Atlantic City, I think my wife has lost count, but we're about 42, 43 original custom-built shows over the years that we've done just in Atlantic City.
That is amazing.
It's a lot of shows.
And truthfully,
a lot of shows,
that's
yeah.
more shows than anybody has done it here.
I think so, yeah.
For
to my
sure.
knowledge, yeah. A lot of shows.
I mean, so let's walk everybody through it. If somebody wants to go into the entertainment industry, whether they're a performer, a dancer, a singer, I mean, you have the best talent, period. What's the best advice you could give somebody?
Actually showing up at an audition. You know,
Yes.
Motor City Live, the show you just saw here on this stage at Hard Rock, we had an open call audition in Manhattan, which is usually what we do for dancers, for singers, for shows. This particular show, we had about 300 singers show up. And so my creative team and I sat there and we listened for 10, 11 hours, each person. And I think a lot of it is just showing up, you know?
I agree.
It really is, you know, this business.
Yeah.
And yeah, being, of course, having talent is helpful.
Right.
And just, not giving up. I think that's a big thing. Just don't give up.
Okay, so going from being a magician and doing your own stage show, because you're the product, then you know how to produce. What's the evolution process from there?
It was really helpful doing my own illusion show for those years, because I learned about scenery, costumes, lighting, audio engineers, and just really, it was like going to college for me, those 2 years at Trump Plaza. And there was a crew at Trump Plaza who were just off the charts phenomenal crew, who really taught me so much about the industry 26, 27 years ago. And once I kind of, it's like a pianist. Once you know how to, play the chords, it's learning concertos. And so I then started applying that to different types of themed shows.
Right.
Everything from the Elvis show to a Motown show to a disco show, an 80s show.
Right.
The burlesque show at Borgata, which has been there for 8 years now.
Show.
8 years at Borgata.
That was a great show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's
all your shows are great, but that one I specifically loved.
Yeah, the burlesque show really, Joe Lupo and the team at Borgata at the time, I think wisely did something that was very edgy for Atlantic City and greenlighting that show. And it really turned into quite a staple for that property.
Well, let's talk about that. There's a process I think both of us have to deal with, is like, how do you get, from your mind, a concept, and then execution?
I have a great creative team around me. Linda Vormans is my creative manager. My wife, Christine, is production manager, plus she's our costume designer. Jillian Reed is our choreographer, who's unbelievable. And then also beyond that, the lighting designers that I work with and people like that. I mean, and so we sit in a room, we just brainstorm, and talk about, well, what if this, what if that, and that's fun. We call them the creative jam sessions, And so,
but you have to be the ultimate decision, correct?
I do, but I'm also paying my team for their advice and their suggestions. And sometimes, sure, we disagree on things, but for the most part, I absolutely take heed in the things that they're saying, as well as some performers. Over the years, some performers have come up to me with a suggestion, or an audio engineer. Actually, it happened in this room. Our audio engineer here had a great suggestion a few months ago. It was great, and we implemented it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because the truth is, from what I've experienced working here, probably as long as you, not as long as you, but close. The tech crew, I mean, that really, the tech crew really saves the show.
Oh yeah, you're only as good as your tech crew.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that. So, what's your relationship with the tech crew, and how do you convey your vision without people,
It's weird. So I've been here for so long doing this that I know every crew member, right? I know every crew member, and I think they're mothers, for so long. And so it's great. So we all have a little bit of a shorthand. So when I come into a room and we start to work in pre-production of a show, we're really talking shorthand. And I'm blessed that, the properties that I'm working at have just great crews who have the right attitude. They're technically just phenomenal. So yeah, I've been spoiled.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So how do you present it to everybody, the vision? So when you say, I'm coming up with this show, whether it's burlesque, Motor City Live, whatever it is,
right?
How do you go in and, one, sell it, two, make it happen, and then three, execute the marketing so people show up?
It starts with the creative team. We sit around, usually over a bottle of wine, going, what haven't we done? That's some cheese. What haven't we done yet? What type of show haven't we done yet? Because what's been exciting about my career of doing this is that everything is so different. The burlesque show is very different from Motor City Live, from Disco Live, from Rat Pack down to Tropicana. Every show that we do, we try to make them just polar opposites of what we've done already, which is fun. And then once we land on an idea like 80s Live, which opened here, ran unfortunately just a short time because COVID shut us down. But once we had a good vision for what that show would be, I then put together a lot of visuals. I sat down with Joe Lupo and the team here at Hard Rock and did a presentation. And they loved it and said, this sounds great, let's do it. And then once they green light it, then the reality happens and we start to go into pre-production of building costumes, scenery, props, hiring the cast, holding auditions, a billion emails, you know what it's like. And then you just put it together. You just basically slowly, that's like adding ingredients to this big pot that you're stirring. And then opening night happens, and I'm in the back of the theater opening night, sweating, hoping it goes great.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Yeah. And
do you get sick before you?
No, not sick, but I definitely get jitters. I'm sure the cast does as well, but my jitters are different. There's a lot riding on it, and so far, knock wood, we've been successful.
But what about the marketing part of it? Do you get involved in that at all?
I do with things like artwork. If you look at the billboards for my shows all over town, I choose the artwork, and thankfully most of the casinos that I work with are okay with that, because sometimes some of the casinos will pick their own artwork for production shows. Things like this, helping to support the show from a media point of view, but usually each property has their own marketing team that are outstanding, and they help push the show.
Yeah. And by the way, the fact that you're a working producer in Atlantic City right now, you're doing an incredible job, and you're keeping the spirit alive.
Yeah, thanks.
And you've always done great productions, and I appreciate it. And I think Atlantic City appreciates it.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the show. What a great interview. Dave and Alan, let us know everything that's happening between the two and the show, Motor City Live. Listen, we got the two of them together. I'm going to sit them down and talk with them. They've been doing shows here in Atlantic City, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and where we are today. Should be a great interview, lots of fun, and we're just going to let them two talk. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to the ACMike Show. Listen, we have a special treat for you right now. We're sitting backstage in the green room with Alan Valentine and David Pena. We just witnessed a fantastic show. We're in the midst as we're taping Alan in COVID. Again, we're going to talk about the different type of shows, but touch on me again how it is and what you have to work through with not only the house, but also with the health and wellness. Where does that come? Do they come in and do inspections or anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean, Hard Rock did an amazing job with this production, with both what happens in the house, the audience, and backstage with the cast, with the crew. I mean, just phenomenal. The way they set up just the room, you guys saw it, where it's these beautiful cocktail tables covered with white linen, a little candle, and every table is about 7 or 8 feet away from the next table in circumference. So just to do that was brilliant, and just the way that they escort people in and the way they exit when the show is over. They go one table at a time, so people aren't rushing the door. I mean, they just thought through everything. And then backstage, everybody's wearing masks, obviously, and they just take all the precautions necessary to keep everybody safe. They did a great job. And
I can attest to that for being a local, popping in quite a bit, whether it's the Hard Rock or the other casinos down the boardwalk or the Marina District. I think what we have here in Atlantic City is very special. Yep. As far as our heads and leaders and in the buildings itself. You know, it's very serious. We want people to come and stay, and we don't want to be closed down. Dave, just to ping off to you, you know, you've been involved in this entertainment field for many decades also, like as Alan has.
I think Alan and I have been through the same ringer.
Yeah. So
in a good way. We've actually been fortunate enough to have success in our business. As Alan's obviously a great stage producer and, you know, puts on incredible productions. Mine is more bar nightclub related, and so I think we're all feeling the same thing at the same time. Being in the nightclub business for so many years, it allowed me this 1 year to actually start thinking about other things I wanted to do. And so I'm actually producing other things that will come out very soon, and I'm excited about it. So, you know, at the same time, I also feel, you know, obviously, you know, I think we all feel that, you know, we've lost our business essentially, and we're just waiting for it to come back. But when we come back, we're going to come back stronger than ever.
That's for sure. Listen, as I'm sitting there and I'm beeping and bopping and I can't get up and dance, and, you know, it's the same thing you tell everybody about Atlantic City. You know, we're going to be here waiting for you, you know, when you come, and they're starting to come, as was evident of the show. But the thing is, I may not be able to hug you, but we want you to come back. What you two do, I'm asking my friend, hey, give me a pen. I'm writing notes. And there was really no notes. I'm just saying these two gentlemen have a show and shows at clubs that don't go out of style. You know, so it's something that doesn't go out of style. Talk to me about the 80s, the Rat Pack, what we just saw. And then, Dave, you follow up on that. So that whole...
That's a great observation, because I try to make all of our shows timeless. A good example is the burlesque show Borgata, going on 8 years that we've been there. And it's a timeless show. I mean, the genre is timeless, and it's, you know, it's sex and comedy, which is a casino crowd. It
sounds good.
It's perfect.
I'm in.
And it's a very, with the spin we put on, we kind of combined a Follies element and just made it very elegant and high end. And, you know, it's really resonated with audiences. But yeah, it is. It's that type of show. And things like Rat Pack, I think Rat Pack, Sinatra will never, I hope, ever go out of style. Motown, you know, this is such a feel-good show down at Hard Rock that, especially right now with COVID, people need to feel good about something. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think we aim to do that, to do shows that are going to stand the test of time.
You're going to have everybody dancing at one time or another.
Yep.
Again, and Dave, go touch him.
Well, I got to say, Boogie Nights, every time I open up an email, somebody's asking, when is Boogie Nights opening up? But I don't even know what state they're emailing me from. Sometimes it's like Atlantic City, Indiana, Biloxi, whatever. People love it. That's the mothership. I want to come back to the mothership. And Boogie Nights in Atlantic City is really stands the test of time. I mean, people love it. Not just anybody could do a retro party, but we do it the right way. We interact with people, our bartenders, our servers, our staff. It's an interactive experience that most people, are craving, and they love it. And so it's we get somebody turning 21, and then we get somebody celebrating their 60th birthday party or whatever it is. That's what Boogie Nights is all about. And I think that really it brings people together, and it's a safe zone where they feel happy. It's escapism, which people need. Alan's shows are escapism. My clubs are escapism. Even my karaoke bar, Planet Rose. People love to sing and drink.
Hey, man,
It's a very, very simple formula.
Right? Have fun.
Yep.
So on the ACMike Show, what we do is we like to ask our guests, give us one of and you're a local guy, both of you are, give us one of your favorite, and remember, we're on Stockton University. Thank you, Stockton.
Keep clean.
Atlantic City stories. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh gosh.
No, I'm not.
Boy. Actually, I think, speaking of the burlesque show, when that show got the green light, it was a big deal. Joe Lupo, who I think you guys know, was a visionary in the casino industry, and it took a lot of guts for him. And so the fact that he said yes to doing that when other people in town are like, are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? A burlesque show?
What?
And he said, because he saw the vision, he realized it was going to be something out of a James Bond movie. It was going to be just super elegant and high end. And he got that vision. Over the years, looking back at things, that was a turning point because that show at that property opened a lot of doors for me.
So thank you there. Yeah. Burlesque, we love it. Mr. Pena.
I'm going to tell you, Planet Rose was one of the toughest things for me to ever produce and put together. Meaning, it was a 3-year process to get that little space, and then to convince people to come sing and drink and understand what we were doing. And we've been so fortunate that we actually have customers. It's like an institution, people, it's like a rite of passage of sorts, when somebody's becoming a bachelorette, right, or, whatever it might be. And so we've been fortunate to be able to do that. And that allowed me to do Boogie Nights. And Boogie Nights at Tropicana has been probably one of the biggest successes I've ever had in my entire life. And the entire crew, staff at Tropicana has been phenomenal. And we're passionate about what we do. We can't wait to get back into the groove.
I want to thank the two of you for coming on to the ACMike Show. I want to thank Stockton University, Tri-X 57, and each and every one of you. Remember to always live, work, play, AC. Thank you to all, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. For more information on ACMike, please visit Instagram, ACMike NJ, Facebook pages, Mike Lopez, ACMike, Live, Work, Play, AC, to keep yourself updated on all the latest happenings right here in Atlantic City. Thanks to today's guests, Landau, Eugene Murphy Jr., Alan Valentine, with special thanks to show contributor David Pena. On-location media services provided by Tri-X 57. Thanks to Stockton University. And remember, folks, live, work, play, AC. Till next time, ACMike signing off.